All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Chris's Sports Corner. Y'all know what time it is, man. First of all, I hope everybody's having a great Monday. If you haven't watched any of my video, I know I already said if you haven't, have a great Monday. Hope this Monday was great. Get the week started. All right, y'all know, hit me up on Instagram, link below. If you want some merch, link below. Let's talk about it, man. So the NBA playoffs has officially started. That's right. It's playoff time, baby. No time for games. No time for shucking and jiving, as my dad used to say. You know, you ain't doing that, but I just shucking and driving. The playoffs is back, man. And let's get right into it. The Utah Jazz versus the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Denver Nuggets, Utah Jazz probably is not one of the, marquee matchups in this playoff. But it's one that you have to pay attention to because you got two very talented teams that can really make some noise and can really stun some people, man. So let's get into it. First of all, for Utah, man, they did come out on the short end of the stick in this game. But let me say this, man. Donovan Mitchell, he literally tried to put this team on his back. I don't know what more the guy could have done, man. I think he ended with like 53 points, if I'm not mistaken. It was just, he did everything you can ask from a young man. And, it was just him. Like, Gobert's a defensive player. And Gobert is one of those guys that, you can't expect a lot from him offensively, but on defense, you know what you're getting from him. And I think tonight was no different. This afternoon, rather, was no difference, man. Donovan Mitchell is named the Spider for a reason. That guy was everywhere. And just getting in there, getting him in between guys, getting to the hole, forcing the action, knocking down the jump shot. I mean, he did everything you can ask him to do. But I'd say one thing, especially when it comes to Gobert, he's going to get fouled a lot, and he's going to give a lot of fouls. He got to make his free throws, man. That was I honestly think that was the difference in this game. Had he made his free throws at a higher percentage, this game would have turned out different. This game would not have went into overtime. But Gobert got to work on that. But what he lacks in free throw shooting, he makes up in defense in total, and that's big, man. That's big. His defense is his defense is, you can almost, I want to say second to none, but you got some beasts on defense out there. But he's a stout defensive player, and you're not just going to come in there and finger roll and do pretty stuff. He's gonna make that player change the direction and make you think second and third about going to that middle in your attempt to score. And in the fourth quarter, it was just like a Donovan Mitchell show. It was just, he was like, give me the ball, get out the way, I got it. And, for a young man, that's what, you can ask no more. You can ask that guy to do nothing else more, man. I don't know what else he could have done. The only thing that I think really played these Utah Jazz was the fact that in overtime, it felt like they ran out of gas. They became sloppy, and they started to take the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands a little too much, if you ask me. I really wasn't that happy about that. I would have preferred for them to keep the ball in Donovan Mitchell's hand, and live and die with him. If he goes, he goes. If he don't, he don't. I don't care if they trap or not. Keep the ball in his hand. That's your best shot to win that game. And when they start to take the ball out of his hand, or he himself start to pass, I just knew that game was over at that point. But he did everything he could do. Now the Denver Nuggets. Let's talk about Denver Nuggets. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets are the better of the two teams. Let's just get that out there. They got more, right? Like Utah got Donovan Mitchell. Ingles is out there too, but he's streaky. You got Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert defensively, but when you go in Denver, you got Michael Porter Jr., you got Paul Millsap, you got the Joker, you got the guy that took over the game tonight, Jamal Murray. It was just to me they're just a better team. So coming out in the beginning, Michael Porter Jr. got off to an amazing start. He was hot. He had it going in that first half. This guy looked like, during the broadcast, they did this Kevin Durant comparison. No. Let's not do that. But they did it and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. He was great. And then somewhere after, I don't know what he had at halftime, because at that point it was It was like, yeah, he just disappeared in that second half to the point they just took him out of the game. So I think Michael Porter Jr. is the real deal, but he got to learn. He got to be consistent throughout a game in order to, in my opinion, personally, to kind of have the coaches have that confidence to stick with him even when he's not performing well at the moment. But that's that. I will say this, man. Prior to that fourth quarter, I felt like the Joker should have had a bigger impact early in this game when it went to overtime. The Joker, he's good. Don't get me wrong, and his but sometimes they're so quiet numbers. Like it's like they're quiet. Like he may have the points, but it's quiet, and sometimes you forget he's even on the court. And I'm like, yo, you're the man. You're that guy. If you're that guy, sometimes you got to be that guy, especially when you see another team like the Jazz starting to make a run. You got to be the one to step up and end that. All right. Speaking of that, kind of piggyback off that, I felt like Denver needed more energy at points in the game. It felt like they went through these waves, right? These waves of like, all right, we just going through it. All right, we got energy, now we don't. We got energy, now we don't. Which bring me to Jamal Murray. I understand who the Joker is, and I understand what he is. But a consistent Jamal Murray have a bigger impact than the Joker. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not taking nothing away from the Joker. The Joker's amazing, but Murray brings something to this team in the form of attitude that they just do not have without him. And in that fourth quarter, when Mitchell was going off, and literally, I don't think you could have cooled this guy off if you tried your best. He was going off, okay? He was going off. And Jamal Murray was like, okay, cool. I can go off too. And Jamal Murray kind of sparked. He kind of gave Denver that energy, that toughness. It was like, I'm not scared of you. Let's go. And he picked it up, and then you seen the team start to pick it up, and to the point that it was just like it became the Jamal Murray Donovan Mitchell show, and it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was like a incredible ping pong match. But shout out to the guy. But then we got in overtime, like I said, with too many turnovers for the Utah Jazz, and then you look at in that fourth, the Joker as well as Jamal Murray really took things over, and it was a done deal after that. But again, man, Jamal Murray showed up and showed out at the end of this game when it mattered most. And I was surprised, even though I know he's capable of that, but you didn't kind of see that coming. I thought Donovan Mitchell was just going to carry this thing, but shout out to Jamal Murray for doing this thing. So with that being said, guys, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Congratulations, Denver's up 1-0 on the Utah Jazz. Till next time, you guys be great.